Welcome back to another episode of Factorio. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. If you guys have, you guys know what to do. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already. With that, let's get to the episode. So, I'm going to remember to actually turn up the sound this time from when I had it down way low when I was playing and just listening to music. Anyway, so one of the things is we need to get power here on Aquilo because we are having some brownouts as well as we are needing proper just proper power to come. And doing that is going to involve having significantly more power generation, which one of those is fusion reactors. Now, the way fusion reactors essentially work is it takes in a coolant and a fuel. Thankfully, fusion power cells don't have a byproduct. They just get cleanly burnt up, so you don't have to worry about any excess like product you have to deal with like you would traditionally with a nuclear reactor where you have to deal with the spent fuel. So right now what we're doing is we're waiting on the fuel to come through and heat up. One of the other things I also did is I finished filling in our platform here on Aquilo. Almost. There's just a teeny little bit over there. And then I set this up so that what this does is it generates fuel, and then the fuel goes around in the loop, and then this allows us to be able to pull heat from more sources around the base. And so this right now is slowly going through and it's going to heat all this up, but we need to get some hot fluorokine, the stuff. We need to get it pumped over to that side. So we need to grab some pipe, which we should have a good bit, and then that should be enough. And then do we have, yeah, we have straight pipe. Okay, and then I just need to figure out where it's going to come down at. About there. Let's do the same thing to figure out where it needs to come over. Oh, if I can place. Okay, perfect. And then go like so. Not like that. Not like a so. Now it's like a so. Okay. And then this guy can go like that. And then that should start getting everything there. And then that will do that. And then this will start making us some power. Because right now, we do have the capacity, but if this ever shuts down for some reason, it does cause problems. It's a lot harder to get going again. Whereas this is just chuck fuel into this thing and it just works. Where this is, we have to prime it with temperature, and there's just a lot more dials we have to make sure are working. One of the other things I also did is I made sure we got all of our rocket silos here built, so heat is slowly going through all of those and things as we do actually build up a bit of heat. Now, the other thing we need to worry about here is trying to make sure that we have enough lithium brine, because these pumps aren't really going to be sufficient. Now, we need the fluorine gas, which we have up here, which should be a sufficient amount to, at the very least, start getting this stuff actually getting made a little bit faster. We can tap it there, and then to get more of our other resource, the lithium brine, I think we're going to have to move and tap some of these further away ones. Probably either this one here in the north or... yeah, or this one over here in the south. But we'll worry about that next as we go to try to set up some things. One of the big things that I'm noticing is we're starting to get that, but unfortunately it's going to take us a little bit longer than I would like. Mainly because we don't have the storage capacity here, because these are all regular cargo bays. We need, ideally, the legendary ones, but in order to do that, we need to do some of the other stuff. So what I'm going to do in the meantime, kind of the interim, is we are going to take pretty much everything out of there that doesn't need to be there. So, like, rocket fuel can go back in, because that's obviously needed. other things that can go in. That doesn't need to be in there. Pretty much most of this stuff doesn't need to be in there. Like red belt, we honestly don't even use anymore, so it could just get destroyed because I'm not gonna bother sending it. Trying to send it back off-world. Some of this other stuff we have here, though, I probably will try to send off-world just because it doesn't make sense for us to have here anymore. Because remember, a lot of this was from when we scuttled the Enterprise, unfortunately. This one has some space. Don't actually know. No, we don't need that on us. But you know what we do need? Long-handed. Except I don't have robots on me anymore. Good job, me. Okay, and then we do have some of that. So then let's go ahead and chuck everything else that we don't need on us. Like that for now. And then let me go ahead and grab like heat pipe, we don't need in there. That we don't need in there, but we can throw that and that. Oh, stone can go in there. That iron. I don't think ice needs to be in there. So let's take that out. Let's take that. Like so, we have plenty of heat pipe. I think we actually may have over imported on the heat pipe. That's fine. Let's take out the ice, throw in the rocket fuel. Calcite and this don't need to be in there. The lithium plate doesn't get used in there, so that's... Chromium plate does get used. That can come out, and a lot of the stuff down here on the bottom can just come out entirely. These Tesla turrets actually need to go to Gleba in their entirety. I don't know why they're here. Oh, again, I'm dumb. The reason they're here is because they were for the scuttling that we did. Okay, and then that can come into my inventory. That can go there. Actually, you know what? Let me take this ice down to the recycling plant that I set up. Because one of the things here is ice is basically infinite. So we are just recycling it into no existence. Come on. There we go. Okay. And then we have a ton of this blade, which needs to go somewhere. I think the best place is probably here in science. So let's just get rid of a bunch. Okay. And do we have any rockets actually ready? No, because these are the only rockets that are available. Okay. So then let me grab whatever's left in here. And we had set a lot of this stuff up earlier for getting the rockets and things built. But now that those have been built, we no longer need a large chunk of these items anymore. Heating towers we may still need. Don't need that or that. That we may need. Okay. Let's grab some inserters, some of those. We're definitely going to need heat pipe likely. We need splitters. We should still have some. Yep. I'll just chuck the lithium plate in there for now. Okay. So let's go see what we can get built down here on the very bottom one. Okay, robots, can we prioritize the stuff right next to me? Apparently they prefer to do the other. And then these... I'm just going to throw some rocket fuel in them. That should start to get rockets fully built. And then some of these upper ones, yeah, like this whole column is basically ready. It just needs the resources, which it is missing. So that wasn't connected, but it should be good now. Okay. We're just gonna turn off roboports, collect our robots. Okay, so that should be good. And then, let me see. Okay, that's not too terrible. We can get all of those sent back up there pretty easily. And how many was that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's 100. So then let's go Thor's hammer. Let's request 100 blue off of Aquilo. Because then what they're going to do is that's going to send them up. Okay, perfect. And then let me go ahead and empty all of this out. Okay, sweet. So, some of the things that we now have to do is we need better cargo bays, which means to get better cargo bays, we need to come back here to Flagora, which we need to see where we're at in that space. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff here is just slowly getting upgraded, which has been very, very slow going, unfortunately. Cargo bay. Yeah, we have a lot of epic ones. So let me go ahead and set this to legendary. That's the kind of the only downside I've had with this, and I'm waiting to just get here to fix it, a lot of it. But it's just been so slow going. I'm going to up this to 100 because we do need a lot right now to upgrade. I think what we'll do is we'll send it back to pick up the legendary ones, and we'll go from there. So this guy is going to request 100. And then... let's see, what are we missing? It looks like rocket fuel. Do we have any more rocket fuel? We do. That's good. Any more? No. Oh. Okay, so I'll put a bunch of rocket fuel in those silos, which should be all that it's missing, because it looks like we have LDS and blue circuits just fine. And then... oh, I have ammo in me. I'm like, why can't I travel? Okay. And then, so what my plan is going to be is we're going to head back up there to try to get some of that going. Now notice, we now have... this guy is burning. Which means this should be producing, but this guy isn't producing because, oh, it doesn't have enough of the fluorokine. Is this guy... okay, we need pump jacks. Do we really not have any more pump jacks? I could have sworn we had enough pump jacks for everything. Can I search for chest? No. Okay. Because I know we don't have any up in these chests. And I don't think we... yeah, we didn't place anything up there yet. This is like the only spot of chest that I'm aware of. And it's not in there. Okay, so we'll just have to try to see... oh yeah, and so we did get this thing working. The Dark Blue Science ship. However, it is very full of stuff. Some of the stuff we actually don't need. On board. I'm sure there's other stuff. Like, we don't need those. Why does it have this much calcite? Is that 5,000? We don't need 16,000. Something here must be... Oh, yeah, that's likely why. Oh wait, no, that's an output. It's less than 1,000, yeah, so that shouldn't input. And then less than 1,000, that shouldn't input. Okay. So then this guy, for some reason, just has a ton of calcite for no reason. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Because it should... Maintenance should only ever pull it up to 5,000. And the input should only ever put it up to 1,000 of onboard resources. This is only getting rid of 500 at a time, so 1, 2... That should be pretty close, yeah, okay. So now it's under. And then that all looks fine. We honestly don't need regular or that, or those anymore. Because those are getting replaced out. We also don't need the rare ones anymore, so all that can drop. I'm just trying to think of... Because what happens is when you replace it, it just goes back into the inventory. So that should fix it a little bit, because we do want to get these guys all upgraded so that we have just a little bit better of a ship. Alright, so let's go see. Have all these rockets finished their job? It looks like all but 2 of them. These guys haven't gotten blue circuits yet. Oh, because it's still just slowly trickling. Okay, so then let me... Okay. So that guy should have enough, I think. Right? Yeah. Yeah, should be enough. That guy should almost be enough. I think it needs some more blue circuits. And that guy should have enough. Okay. So let me go ahead and board Thor's hammer. And so, well, my game plan is now that we have Aquilo in a much better position, and we are slowly starting to get foundations, we need to go back to Flagora, change a lot of these priorities around just so that it starts functioning more, and then we also need to go through and tear up some stuff. So, like, what? Yeah. So, actually, a couple of the things. I mean, I guess I don't actually have to even leave Aquilo to do it, technically. Come to think of it, we could just stay on Aquilo. I actually don't need to head off world, because I can do it all by robots. Because here on Glebo, what I'm going to do is we're going to place those new Tesla turrets all the way around, because there are some sections that are still getting hit pretty hard. I think this is one of them, with all the things. We need the Tesla turrets to slow the giant pentapod stompers down, because otherwise they kind of rock our world a little bit, so to speak. We also need to just pick up some more laser turrets from Flagora, so we'll do that. And then we'll kind of fortify all the way around. Having the artillery turrets is really good because it basically guarantees that we'll have no intrusion of expansion within that zone. Which, unfortunately, our pollution... Well, actually, fortunately, our pollution is, for the most part, staying within those boundaries. There are obviously some spillage over here to the east and a lot of spillage over here to the south, which is why the south and the east are the most fortified. But if you look over here to the west, our pollution is well within that range. So as long as the stompers and things don't expand into our territory, we should be fine. But if they do, we can go ahead and take them out with the artillery. But thankfully, the nice part is we can just use artillery targeting, and then everything can become targeted, which is nice. So we can kind of hold them off with that. But we are going to fortify with those Tesla turrets that we have here. And then probably what I'm going to do is try to finish up making sure that we get this power station properly situated. The nice thing is once this thing is functioning, these guys start to produce the hot stuff, and that hot stuff can then go here, and then it just infinitely cycles. You don't need like new input, which is nice. It consumes and produces just enough in the loop, so you don't actually have to ever introduce more into it from what I've seen. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm gonna take just one pipe just so that it is capable of getting into that. But yeah, so then these things sit so slowly on this, and then this just will produce power as it's needed, thankfully. So far they haven't produced any power, likely because this guy doesn't have enough of a fluoroketone, I'm guessing. But it could also just be we have enough power generation otherwise, so we should be fine there. But in the event we have a brownout or whatever, we should be good. But I'm going to keep going and getting more of these guys produced, and yeah, so we'll go from there. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already. And with that, I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Have a good one, and peace out.